Welcome to our tutorial on variables in Python programming. In today's video, we're going to dive into the exciting world of Python variables. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced developer, understanding variables is crucial for writing efficient and powerful Python code. Before I begin, let's take action now. Subscribe to this channel and hit the like button. Let's get started. Before we jump into coding variables, let's make sure we're on the same page. So what exactly is a variable? Well, a variable is like a container that holds a value, and it has a name. You can create a name for your own variable. You can think of it as a labeled box where you can store different types of information, such as numbers, text, or even more complex data. In Python, you don't need to explicitly declare the type of a variable. The type is inferred based on the value you assign to it. This feature is called dynamic typing and is one of the reasons why Python is so flexible and easy to use. Let's start with a simple example. Suppose we want to store someone's age in a variable. We can create a variable called age and assign a value of 20 by using the assignment operator, which is an equal sign. So you can see here on the slide, I have the variable name called age. This is the assignment operator, and I'm assigning the value 20 to the variable age. The second example here, I'm assigning a decimal place number to a variable that I call tip. And again, the assignment operator here, assigning 0.15 to tip. The third example is I'm assigning a very large number, again, a decimal place number, to salary. The fourth example here, I'm assigning the text or the word Sandy to a variable called first name. Because Sandy is a text or a word, I would have to put double quote or single quote around the text. So Sandy equals, I have here double quote, first name equals Sandy with a double quote, and last name equals to Jones with single quotes. So if it's a text, remember to put double or single quotes around the text. But for numbers, you don't have to put single or double quotes around numbers. Now, let's go over some of the rules for creating variables. The very first rule is that it has to be descriptive. And we don't want really long variable names or very short variable names. So examples, a equals to 25. This variable is too short. This is not descriptive enough. A more descriptive variable, we can say that a is age. So this is a little bit more descriptive than just the letter a. So we're assigning the number 25 to age with the assignment operator. Even more descriptive, you would say age of an individual, or age of a person, or age of an animal, or age of a tree. That will be even more descriptive than just using age. So make sure your variable is descriptive, not too long or too short. That's the first rule. The second rule is that you cannot use Python keywords, commands, or reserved words. Example, remember the print function that we learned in previous video. Now you cannot use print as a variable name. And there are many other keywords, commands, or reserved words in Python programming that we cannot use as variables. Number 3 rule, you cannot have spaces in variables. For example, if I say age of an animal and have spaces between these words, this will give you an error. Python won't like this. Instead, you can type age of an animal all in one word and assign the number 10 to it. Or for better readability, you can have underscore that separate each of these words. So age underscore of underscore and underscore animal. See, this is so much easier to read than if you just jumble up all the words and make it one word here. All right, so this is the preferred way of coding variables by using underscore to separate the words. The fourth rule is that variables are case sensitive. So I have here many different ways of coding age. all these variables are different. They're not the same, right? All little letters H is different than a capital A, little e, G, little e. So these two variables are different, and this variable is different than this one, this one, this one, this one. So all these are different variables because variables are case sensitive. Speaking of case, let's talk about camel case, Pascal case, and snake case. Pascal case example is that the first letter of the variable is in little letter, but all subsequent words in this variable is capitalized. So you can see number of animals in the zoo. You can see the first word, number, has a little letter, and then of, capital O, animals, capital A, in, capital I, T, the, capital T, and zoo, capital Z. So this is what we call the camel case. The Pascal case, on the other hand, is that every word starts with a capital letter. So you can see here, every word starts with a capital letter. The snake case is what we already talked about. We use underscore. Number, underscore, of, underscore, animals, underscore, in, underscore, the, underscore, and zoo. This is the snake case. The fifth rule is that the first character must be a capital letter or small letter or underscore. So an example of a variable starting with a small letter is the first example here. Age of an animal, everything is written in small letters. This one starts with a capital letter, age of an animal. And that's okay, as long as the first character starts with a capital letter or a small letter. Or you can even start your variable with an underscore if you choose. And these are all acceptable. Now, after the first character, then you may have letters, numbers, or underscore. So this example here, I started with a small letter. And then thereafter, I can have capital letters, I can have other letters, I can have numbers, I can have an underscore. But those are only allowed after the first character, which must be a capital letter or a small letter or an underscore. The seventh rule is that variables cannot be all capital letters, because when we have capital letters, it means something else. So for variables, don't type everything in capital letters. So now let's go ahead and pull up our interpreter and take a look at how we use variables. So this is my interpreter here, and I'm going to code this simple program here. All right, here I have store as my variable, and I'm assigning the number 55 to store with the assignment operator. So store equals to 59. Then I'm just going to print the store number is, on my second line here. My third line here, I'll just print store. So notice that the store does not have single quotes or double quotes around it. When it doesn't have a single quote or double quote around the variable store, it will just print the number 59. So if I run it, you can see the store number is 59. So line 2 will just print whatever's in the single quote, the store number is, and in line 3 print store, it'll just print the number, because store does not have single or double quote. But if I put, let's say, single quote around store, and then I run it, you can see the word store will be printed in my output rather than the number 59, because now store has a single quote around it. All right. If we do something like this, if we print store, let me remove these single quote around store. Here in line 1, we want to print store. And then we're assigning the 59, the number 59 to the variable store, and then we want Python to print the information. But when we run it, we notice that Python is giving us an error. And it says the name store is not defined. So you can't print the value in the variable before assigning the value into the variable. But if I, for example, remove this and put it down here, then it will be fine. Python will print whatever number we assign to the variable and then continue printing the rest of the information. Another way you can do this is assign, for example, the number 5 to apples, the number 6 to oranges, and in the print, you can print both values. So make sure you don't have any spaces in front of these lines here. So run, you can see 5 and 6. Apples, I'm assigning 5 to apples and 6 to oranges, so it will just print 5, 6. But I can print these variables and the same using the same print line here. And let's see if we print like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It will just print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can also assign a value to many different variables. So I have apples equals to oranges equals to apricots equals to 10. So I can basically assign the number 10 to different variables using just one line instead of 3 separate lines. Now apples will have the value of 10, oranges will have the value of 10, apricots will have the value of 10. So when I run it, you'll see 10, 10, 10 3 times. Here, I have number, decimal number, and words. And then I have equals 1, 20.2, and then the word Python. So the number 1 here, this will be assigned to the variable number. 20.2 will be assigned to the variable decimal underscore number. And then Python will be assigned to the variable words. So when I print this, you will see that number will be 1. And then decimal number will have the value of 20.2. Words will have the word Python. And so this is line 1 here, print number. Line number 2 in my output is print decimal number. Line 3 here in my output is the word Python. And then the last print here will just print all the values for me, all in the same line. Let's take a look at this example here. I'm basically assigning the value 10 to number 1, 20 to number 2, and then I have the plus here. This is to add, right? The plus that we learned in grade school, it basically will add 10 plus 20, and I can print that number out. The result I will see in my output down here. And then I assign Python in words 1, computer class in words 2, and when I print 2 of these texts, it is a concatenation operator. So it will combine these 2 phrases together. So if I run it, you can see it will add, the first one, it will add 10 plus 20, giving you 30, because these are numbers. And when you have a plus, Python will add the numbers together. But if they're words, Python will just combine them. And this is called a concatenation operator. So Python will combine the words together. Now, if we have something that looks like this and run it, we are combining a number plus the word, and Python does not like that. Python does not like that because we are adding a number. We can put spaces here for readability. We're adding a number to a word or a text, and Python will give us an error because Python can't do that. It's not supported. Let's look at more examples here. In a program, you can assign as many values to different variables. You can assign as many variables, or you can assign values to many different variables. So here I have 90 assigning to a variable called room, 2 assigned to the variable called house, and I just print them out. So basically, you can have as many variables as you want and numbers or text assigned to the variables. Now, this one, if I want to combine in my output, the room number is 90 and the house number is 2. If I just want 2 lines here instead of 4 lines in my output, what you can do is you can combine, right? You can combine the 2 print statements that we saw that is related to room number. you can put that in one print statement. And then I start this with the single quote, my text, close it with a single quote and comma to separate the variable from the text. And same here, the house number is, and then separating the variable from the text. So when I run it, you will just see 2 lines in your output, and then the numbers on the same line as the description here, the text here. You can certainly change this print line here to one print line that looks something like this and generate just one print statement here in the output. But just remember to separate the variable with commas, right? So here room is a variable and I'm separating room with commas from the text. Let's look at this program here. This program here, I'm assigning 90 to room and 2 to house. Then I just print what the room number is and house number is. But line 5 and 6, I'm reassigning or putting a new value to the same variable room as in line 1. And then I'm assigning 3 to the same variable as in line 2, house. Now, 7 and 8, when we run it, we'll have different values here because I have replaced. So you can see I have replaced 200 with 90 in room. And I've replaced 3 in house. Before it has the number 2, but here in line 6, I've replaced it. I've reassigned the number 3 to house. So when you print this again, you will see that now room is 200 and house is 3. All right, we've learned how to assign numbers or values to variables. Now let's look at how we can delete a variable. And the reason why we want to delete variables is because sometimes variables may contain videos, which really takes up a lot of memory storage. And if we don't delete the variable, we don't free up the storage space, it may clog it all up. So at times we may want to delete these variables. So how do we do that? Right, so we have a command called del that's deleting it. So here I'm assigning 6 to number. I'm just printing the number 6. I'm deleting the value in number. And when I print number here, there won't be anything printed because the number 6 has been deleted from memory because of the keyword del or the command del. So when I run it, you will see 6 from line 2. Right, line 2 will give me the number 6, but then later on, after I delete that number and I ask Python to print what's in the number variable, it will give me an error because it says it's not defined. It's no longer there because you've deleted it in line 3. We can certainly, all right, assign different values to num1, num2, and num3. And we can certainly delete all of the variables in one line here. So as we run this, the line 2 will print variables. Num1, num2 is 10, num3 is 15. All right, but after we delete it, and if we want to print this, you can see that it won't print anything for you because the variables have already been deleted. All right, so we get an error message here. All right, let's move on now to what I have here and continue with our discussion. All right, so I have summary here on variables. In this video, we have covered the basics of Python variables. We discussed how to create variables, assign values to variables, reassign values to variables, and then perform a few operations on them. Remember, variables are an essential concept in programming, and mastering them will open the doors to more complex and exciting Python projects. Thank you for joining us today. Please remember to subscribe to this channel and click the like button for more videos about Python. Come back and join us again. Until then, happy coding.